And thank you everyone for joining us on a very special edition of Danapalooza. Today it is the Women of Professional Wrestling. So thank you for joining us. We have very special guests. We have on our panel Big Bang, Roni Nicole, all the way from Glow, the Royal Hawaiian April Home, All Natural Ashley, and Sarah Bubbles.
Aloha.
Ladies, thank you for joining us. So, for watching and future watching fans, we have all this wonderful social media to follow. To follow All Natural Ashley's social medias, follow her on Instagram at All Natural Ashley Wrestling, at Twitter and Facebook at All Natural Ashley. And moving on, to make sure to go ahead and follow the social media for Sarah Bubbles. Make sure to follow on the Instagram at Sarah_Bubbles_740, Sarah Bubbles on Facebook, and for Twitter, Sarah_Bubbles_. And to follow the Royal Hawaiian April Home social media, make sure to follow on Instagram, Royal Hawaiian 25, April Home on Facebook, and for Twitter, Glow Royal HWN to follow on Twitter. And finally, our last social media, to follow Roni Nicole, make sure to follow her fan page at Big Bang Roni Nicole. Make sure to follow her on Twitter at Glitterlicious. And make sure to follow on the Instagram, Roni_Nicole_Joshi Queen. So make sure you follow all those wonderful social medias. Ladies, welcome to the panel.
Hi, Dan. Thank you so much for having us. This is really awesome.
Thank you. But is anybody else garbled?
What's that?
I keep getting you guys freeze up, and I can hear you kind of going in and out.
Okay. If you are using a certain browser, if it is Google Chrome, sometimes that is an issue, and you might have to use Firefox or another one for the application. So you could leave the room and do that, or we
now
could
I
just
can hear
stay
you fine.
Okay. Yep. That's just sometimes some of the bugs and the hiccups.
Now it's okay.
StreamYard. Yep. That's fine. That is the technical aspect of the show. Free StreamYard. So let's go ahead and begin. And I kind of want to just, I'll start with a general question. I kind of want to know, we'll start with Ashley. What are your plans and goals as a wrestler for 2023?
Well, I've been working really hard and training a lot and getting in good shape. I mean, sky's the limit. I'm definitely trying to get on some better shows. This is Nico. She always has to be on camera whenever there's a camera around.
That's Dan's friend, the cat.
But
Dan has one too.
Yeah. Nico would like to wrestle on television this year too if she gets the chance. So yeah, just keep getting better and do bigger and better things.
I just thought I'd mention, if Nico is a wrestler, Tilly is also somewhat of a wrestler. Her move is the kitty crossbody off the fridge. So if you want to form a kitty tag team, that is also an option.
Yeah, I think we definitely start her in cat wrestling for sure.
She's debating on if she wants to be a lucha kitty or not, so I don't know where that stands, but we'll see.
She can do it all, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's move on to Roni. What is your plans for 2023 as a wrestler?
As a wrestler for 2023, gosh, I never really make a plan. I think I stopped doing that at like year 5 because I realized it was not it did never work. I had all of these plans for things that I wanted to do, and then life and God was like, ha ha ha. So I have, however, since I recently hit 10 years, I'm now moving into the advocacy space. As you know, Dan, I'm an activist in my regular life, and within professional wrestling, there is a lot of exploitation. There is a lot of undervaluing. Some spaces are not safe for people of color or the LGBTQIA community. Some people are having issues with being just paid from the simple work that they're doing. And so this year, my focus is to really up my advocacy. I am currently working on my own facility here in the Raleigh area. So making sure that my location, as well as the other locations that I am working with in a consulting capacity, have all the tools they need in order to provide a safe space and a quality space for wrestlers to continue to perform our art, and really start to force, because no change does not come without push, but force the narrative of safety, equity, inclusion, and diversity within professional wrestling. So those are my goals for this year.
Well, I certainly know you will achieve your goals because you are very goal oriented and you always strive for the best. So I know you will achieve all of those. Let's move on to Sarah Bubbles. What are your plans as a wrestler for 2023?
Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to go after Roni. That's like mountains of goals, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll learn how to wrestle this year. Like, I mean, I haven't been training very long, so so my goal is to maybe learn things, maybe get some new promotions under my belt, but I do agree with the respect thing. I've seen it even just as a woman. It's really hard to get, because I was talking to a friend about this. I said, you wouldn't believe, just in my little bit of experience, how many times I've been told, it doesn't matter, you're a woman, or it doesn't matter, you're pretty, like by promoters. And so it would be really great if that didn't happen. So I'm with you, Roni. I support your cause there. That's my goal, is to learn how to wrestle and get better at it for safety reasons for everyone involved. That's it.
Well, we know, and I know you'll definitely learn more and you'll achieve success. So thank you, Sarah Bubbles. And finally, from the world of Glow Wrestling, April, what are your plans for 2023?
2023, well, I'm hoping it's better than 2022, that's for sure. Well, I guess just getting back on the road because of the pandemic. The last couple of years, I've only done local shows and events, which kind of kept me here in California, going to Vegas, going to Arizona, pretty much anywhere I could drive versus flying. So this year, I'm actually going to be voyaging out to, the fans have been dying for us to come to the East Coast. So prior to the pandemic, we were all over, 3-4 times a month, East Coast, West Coast, up north, down south, wherever. So it's been about 2 years that I haven't really been anywhere, on a plane anyway. So hopefully next month I'm in Vegas, or no, I take it back. This month, at the end of this month, I'm in Vegas. April or May, March or something, I'm not sure what. April, I might be in the New York, Jersey area. June, I think I'm in Jacksonville, Florida with Sunny, the California girl. Will be at the River City WrestleCon. And then June is, I think, also East Coast, Jersey somewhere, and Rhode Island is usually in November sometimes. So I'm hoping to get to the East Coast and into the Connecticut area, and maybe we were talking about Charlotte or North Carolina and other places that have been asking for us to come. So we'll see. My goal really is to get on a plane and travel cross country a little bit more this year. So hopefully that happens.
Well, I hope that happens for you. You can definitely check out the sites and definitely let us know how it goes. All right. So
yeah, for sure.
I know some of you probably have questions for April. So if anybody has a question for April, you can go ahead and feel free to ask. We'll start with Roni.
Should we say start with my question, Dan?
Yes.
Okay. April, how would you compare the climate of wrestling now to when you broke in?
Well, night and day. Back in the 80s, since we were the first all women's league, we really didn't know what we were doing. Although David McLean, the producer, had a real clear idea and a vision of what he wanted. And so he had the help of Matt Simber, who was a Hollywood director, who helped with Glow and directed the show. We didn't really know what we were doing. I mean, there was women wrestling. It's just that it was not all women. You know, you had the individual women's matches in the men's shows, and this was different. It was all about the women. So we learned the initial 12 of us that started the pilot series were trained by Mondo Guerrero. So the famous Guerrero family, Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero's the nephew, and everybody else there. So we were trained by, you know, a great trainer, and then we performed and were able to take the show into 4 seasons. And then it was, you know, it would get women's wrestling. They're able to have their own pay-per-view, their headlining shows. The things that I watch those girls do today, Bianca Belair, that's my favorite. Charlotte Flair. You get Becky Lynch. All the girls that are wrestling today, or ladies that are wrestling today, are unbelievable. Fabulous athletes doing crazy, crazy, crazy moves. And I say that I would have never done that stuff. And some of our fans say, yes, you did. You guys used to do that stuff. It was just a little bit, you know, tamer. So I see things way, way beyond what we probably ever would have imagined would be where the future of women's wrestling was. So it's a great honor, because people tell us, well, without you guys, there wouldn't be the wrestlers today. And so it is, you know, they're now calling us the trailblazers and the legends. And, you know, if you guys hadn't really pushed through and continued to do what we did for 4 seasons, maybe wrestling wouldn't be where it is today for women. So I'm always excited. I look forward to seeing what's next and who's going to try what. But yeah, I'm fascinated, and I'm a supporter of women's wrestling all the way. I mean, I'm willing to travel to watch, to see, to support. I was telling the girls earlier that I enjoy the small indie promos and just getting out there to support the local girls. We got a lot of great wrestlers here in California. We have Lois Gain, we have Nicolette, we've got just so many here locally that I like to go and support all the different promotions, you know. So I hope that you guys get that out in your areas. But anytime they ask, they'll say, you know, could you come and do a meet and greet? And I'm like, no problem. Let me know where, when. They can put the Glow logo. It attracts some attention. It gets them some. I always ask. They ask me, can you come and do a meet and greet? And I said, sure. Can you tell me how many ladies matches you have? And if they tell me they don't have any, then I say, oh, well, there's something wrong then. I said, why don't you have at least one ladies match on your card? Because today there's no excuse. There should be no reason why they shouldn't have at least one ladies match. If not, now they're having intergender, you know, and all kind of other creative stuff. But yeah, today it's advanced, and I'm proud of it. I'm just looking forward to seeing what's to come. And right now, here locally in LA, we have WOW, which is David McLean's current promotion, and the show that's on TV is WOW Women of Wrestling, and they're on all over the country, but here locally in LA, they come on Saturday nights at 10 o'clock, and it's a great show. So I've gone to most of the filmings for the show here in downtown LA, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. They're great. So you guys might be, they just had a tryout 2 days ago. So, you know, you never know. You guys might want to come to LA and audition for WOW. It's a great show. Lots of fun.
Thank you for answering that question. Roni, did you have any more questions?
You can circle back to me so I can let Sarah or Ashley go.
Okay. Ashley, do you have a question?
Yes. Before the interview, we were chatting a little bit, and it came up that you were an actress before you began working Glow. Could you tell us some of the things?
Actually, did. I was like one of you said. You didn't have any wrestling experience? I didn't either. It was like I worked in Hollywood because I was an actress and
That's not what I was saying. I'm sorry. I'm asking what kind of stuff you acted in before you began wrestling.
Okay. A lot of it was I did a lot of community theater. I did a lot of live performances. I was a dancer, so I did stage. I'm a hula dancer. I've been dancing since I was 5. I done shows like Jake and the Fat, just random TV series background. When I lived in Hawaii, I did Jake and the Fat Man. I drove. I did stunt work. Here, just movies. God, I'm so old. I don't even remember all the shows they did, but did a lot of commercials and foreign ads for Japanese television commercials. Whatever was going on in town at the time, and I actually did get Glow as a way of going to an open call. So I was doing a little bit of everything. I was in beauty pageants. I was a Miss Alhambra, which is the city I lived in. So I kind of dabbled in beauty pageants for a bit, and I was Miss Chinatown, and I'm part Asian. So just different things, whatever you can get into. But I was an actress, and most school, high school, college, after college, community theater. So I was doing a little bit of everything. And that kind of led up to helping out with the role in Glow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good question, Ashley. Do you have any questions to ask Sarah?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of how to word things and which one to ask. So I know, well, I guess, okay, so how old were you when you got into wrestling?
Can you repeat that?
If you don't mind answering, how old were you when you got into wrestling?
Did she say how old?
Yes.
When you started.
It's getting garbled. I was 21, and I had just gotten that interview and the audition, and I wasn't even legal yet. So by the time I got to Vegas, I think I turned 21, because then we were able to drink. They gave us, when we lived in the Riviera Hotel, which is where the show was filmed. And so we used to get buffet tickets and alcohol tickets for the bar. So I was in my early 20s. So yeah, 21, 22, 23. So it was just, everybody says you were really young. And I said, yeah, that was it. And then I got hurt, so I didn't stay long. I would have liked to. And I have had personal lifetime injuries, which I suffer from today. Just finished going to the specialist today. And people ask, would you do it all over again? Or if you were older, do you think you would have still done it? And I say yes, because it was just the time of my life. It was just so much fun. And we did so many fun, cool things. And, heck, we didn't even know what we were doing. It was something that hadn't been done yet. So we didn't have a script, so to speak, or a book that told us how do you start a all women's wrestling league. David had a good idea and he ran with it, and it worked, So that's it. Most of us, a lot of us were in our early 20s, and then we had a few that were actually, I'd say, about 10 years older than us. We had Matilda the Hun, who was a roller derby queen before, Queen Kong. And I think she was probably about maybe 8 to 10 years older than us in the early 20s. And then there were, I think she was the oldest one. And then Fiji, I think, was a few years younger than her. And then Big Bad Mama. So there was a big age gap because we're in our early 20s. We had a couple that weren't even legal of age yet in 21. So it went from like 21 all the way up to like, I think at that time would have been like in their mid 30s, maybe almost, I don't know if it'd be quite 40, but they were a good 10, maybe 10, 15 years possibly older than us. We had some that looked really, really good. Like they were older, but they looked really young. So that was a good thing for them.
Thank you for answering that question. Does anybody else, Ashley, Ronnie, or Sarah, do you have any other questions for April?
Yes. April, what would you say is the biggest lesson you've taken from your professional wrestling career thus far?
Is the biggest what?
Lesson you've taken from your professional wrestling career thus far?
The biggest lesson, I would say, you know, I was one that when I started, because I was so young and I was in Hollywood, when I first got to the show, I had one experience with the casting couch situation. And when I got to the show, I let the director and the producer know that I was there to give 110%, 150%. Just don't ask me to go to a casting couch. Don't ask me to come to your room unless all the rest of the girls were coming. And I would say, do what you want to do. Don't make anybody force you to do what you don't want to do. I did that from the jump, and I had not 1 ounce of problems the entire time. Being in Hollywood, we know all the way back from the 40s, there were issues with, you know, the casting couch and being approached and, you know, the things that went on in movie studios and things like that. But now even with the wrestling industry, I would say my biggest thing is I stood up and stood my ground. And I would say that don't make anybody make you do anything you don't want to do. And I would just pursue whatever you think is your persona or however you wanted to develop your character. And don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because that's what we get the most of today is we get people that compliment us and thank us for being trailblazers of all kind. We have a very big LGBTQ community where they say, we watched you girls cross over into a male-dominated sport, and it helped us to feel confident that we could come out maybe a little easier than it maybe had been in the past. We have people that may have had handicaps and different type of learning, challenges. And they say that when we looked at what you girls did, it gave us the motivation and the determination to go after what we wanted to do without having somebody make us do something we didn't want to do. So it's great to hear all the different kind of stories on what we helped people overcome or actually pursue in their personal lives or business. And so I would just say for me, it was, I've never not followed my dream or what I wanted to do. And so people always ask, would you do it again? Absolutely. Even with all my injuries, I would. I would just say that was probably a good learning lesson for me that made me, who I am today. After I got hurt at Glow, I went on to work 25 years for United Airlines and started at the bottom and climbed the corporate ladder. And I retired after many years and making a great salary that I probably would have never have done had I not had the footwork with Glow. So just do what you feel you want to do and don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because look at us. We did it, and it was a male dominated sport, and look at where it is today.
Well, thank you for answering my questions. And thank you, as people have said to you before, for being those trailblazers who opened the doors for myself and Ashley and Sarah and many others to continue to do this as wrestling evolves. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Ashley, did you have another question?
I do. I was wondering, do the girls from Glow still get together today?
Do the girls of Glow do what?
Still get together today or keep in touch?
Oh, yes, we do. Actually, there are quite a few that don't. And we have to respect that because it's been 37 years. We just had our 37th anniversary last year. And some of them lead very normal lives. They are married with children and have, a happy life. They are completely okay, doing what they've chosen to do. And then there's those of us that have continued to carry on the brand. And there's a good handful of us. I work with probably a good dozen of us, on and off. There are some that periodically will come and join us for an event. We did have the reunion in 2000. Oh boy, you guys, here we're testing memory. I want to say 2014. I mean, don't quote me, but we did the documentary and that was a reunion. And we got, I want to say about 30 something. There were a total of, in all 4 seasons, about 74-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood of girls. And I think we got about half together for the reunion, which was a kind of a surprise. If you watch the documentary, it was for Fiji. Mount Fiji was in a convalescent home and we had a luncheon and surprised her with all of the girls. And so that was probably the biggest, besides 2017, where we were honored at the CAC convention. And Sunny the California Girl actually got about 20 something of us together for that, where we were awarded one of the Hall of Fame awards for the first all women's wrestling league. So there are a group of us that do get together for events and functions, and then it kind of gets smaller and you get there's about a dozen, give or take, and maybe different groups of maybe 5 and 6, 7 girls. Sometimes I organize some events and I might have 6, 7, 8 girls at an event. And then you have the ones that are your regular buddies. Like I have regular girls that I see on a regular basis. Jungle Woman, who was one of the wrestlers that I wish I was a tag team partner with. Everybody always says, why didn't you guys team up? I would have loved that. She's my football buddy. She was also a Raiderette cheerleader. We also have Ashley Cartier, who was also a Raiderette cheerleader. Sunny the California Doll, Roxy Astor. I used to do a lot of work with Lightning in Hollywood, Daisy, Little Feather. So there's a few of us that, stay together quite often and see each other on a social basis, and then working to continue with the Glow brand. So some of them don't even go on Glow events, but we get together for social time. So yeah, it's like a sisterhood. It's like kind of being in a sorority. If you never went to college and had a sorority, this is kind of like having Glow sisters. So we've lost quite a few. So we've lost, I think we were counting just the other day, between adding Aunt Kitty and Sylvester Stallone's mom, Jackie Stallone, and then the girls. There's, I think, maybe been about a dozen that have passed. So we've lost, I think last year we lost 3 or 4. So we're getting up there in age. I'll be 60 in April. So I'm counting my blessings, knock on wood. But so we're getting up there, so it's expected. Some of them have been we've lost quite a few to cancers, which is unfortunate. But we're still trying to just continue with the brand and try to keep the girls together. So I'm working on an event just coming up sometime this month, and I'm hoping to get maybe at least 4 or 5 Glow girls together for a meet and greet. And so it's usually, sometimes it could be 3 or 4, sometimes 7 or 8, so it's fun. And we do see each other periodically. It's like a family. So not everybody loves each other. We don't all get along, not all the time, but it's okay. And those that don't want to be involved, we just have to respect that, because the fans always ask, oh, where's so-and-so, and where's so-and-so? And, we'll pass along the word, oh, your fans were asking about you and such, and we just let them know, they're going on with their life and doing well, but they're just not interested in continuing with wrestling or participating at all, which is okay. It's not for everybody, but it's been fun. Those of us that have chosen to continue, we enjoy doing what we do. The fans love it. They really appreciate it.
Thank you for answering my question. I love that. I watched the documentary years ago, and I need to rewatch.
Well, you can have a long career if you want it, ladies. What was that?
I watched the documentary years ago, and I need to rewatch it.
Did you cry?
Yes.
Yeah, most people do. And everybody says that they have to watch it every so often because it's really a neat story, and just to see how it evolved and what happened. And I spent a lot of time with Fiji at the end, a couple years before she passed. And so there's great memories and lots of stories, and the fans love to, reminisce and share what they, those that got to see the Glow Girls on tour. We have a super fan named Manny in San Diego. And when he was a kid, he was like 8 or 9, and his mom took him and his brother to see the Glow Girls all the time. And so he has great pictures when they're 8 and 9. And then he has pictures now as an adult, and he's like in his 40s, and he has great side-by-side pictures. And it's just awesome because he has all these great stories on, I saw you guys when I was a little kid, and now we call him one of our super fans. He's like one of our regulars. He's not a fan. He's part of the Glow family, So there are those kinds of people that ended up following us from the jump, from the time they watched it, have never stopped. And we have a great fan base and dedicated fans that follow us where we go. We have Glow cruises. There's one coming up in May, and that Roxy is doing that with Roxy, Dallas. Gosh, I don't even know all the girls that are going, but I'm not going on that one. I'm doing something else. But there's been like maybe 4 or 5 different Glow cruises, which are just a total blast. You get to come on the cruise with us and vacation with the Glow Girls for a week and do all these excursions when you get to the ports. And then while we're on the ship, we have all these Glow activities. And so it's just a great, individualized event if you want that, and there are so many fans that will go on all of them, or whenever we do whatever and we're in their area, they're always there. So we have our regulars. My assistant is Juan Hernandez. We've got, I recently lost my best buddy, Sam, in Jersey, and he was a Glow fan and a wrestling fan. But they become our family, so we have all the regulars that are always supportive. I've got Tina in New Mexico and Wendy in Florida, and, Jerry and up north in Connecticut. I mean, I don't want to name all of them, but, you have these special friends that become your family through Glow, and they are just so appreciative that we spend the time that we do, to bring back their memories. I mean, we were a part of their life growing up, and so we have great stories from them. And we're trying to see if we can do an updated documentary. That's one of my goals. I guess I could have shared with you, Dan, for 2023, is trying to maybe get that off the ground. I'm in the process of doing my autobiography, but I would like to see if we could do where are they now, or include some new stories that weren't told back in the first documentary. So you never know. We have some things in the works possibly coming up, and the fans are the main reason that I do what I do, because I see the joy that it brings to fans that are dedicated Glow fans. They know more than we do. They tell us stories, and I share every time I go somewhere. I learn something new. So, it's a good thing. That's why we continue to try and promote the brand and keep it alive.
Great question, Ashley. Sarah, do you have a question?
I do. If you had to pick like the best thing ever, what would be your most memorable wrestling moment in your history?
Well, I would say kind of 2, because I think everybody always asks, well, what was your best match, or what was your favorite match? And I would say it was the very first match when we did the pilot, which was episode 1. And that was because it was kind of like we prepared for this. We trained. It was like, I've been an entertainer since I was 5, to get to rehearse and learn a dance or a routine or a script or a play or a musical, whatever it is. And it's curtain time now. And that's just, if you've ever done live, that to me, live theater or live performing is way better than anything on camera. Even though the wrestling was on film, it was a live show. So we were amped up. You're just the adrenaline, just everything about, and then because it was the unknown, like for me, the stage stuff wasn't a big deal because I've been in front of a crowd many moons, but it was the wrestling. I had no clue. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I mean, in my mind, I thought, okay, this is kind of going to be like my dancing. I'm learning a routine and I'm going to come in front of a crowd. But it was still just the excitement of the unknown, and not the fear, but for me, it was just the excitement because it was like, oh my God, I'm going to come out here and we're going to do this show. And there's hundreds of people in the crowd and it's going to be on TV. Oh my God. And I was already on TV and had been that kind of stuff, but it was just the excitement of that it was wrestling and it was something I hadn't done before. And I really enjoyed it. I was a tomboy. So like they said, they were looking for girls who were athletic. I grew up between 2 boys, my 2 brothers. So I was a tomboy. I was athletic. So it was right up my alley. And when we did it, so that was my favorite. My favorite was the first one. And then I would have to say that when I won the crown, which I was the first heel. So Tammy Jones won the first crown, the first episode. That's how they started the show. And then I stole the crown. I broke her lollipop and stole her crown. Have to include that. She was like a Shirley Temple kind of girl, and she came in with little pigtails and her lollipop. And so I took the lollipop and smacked and broke the lollipop and stole her crown. And so I was the first heel that was a glow champ. So that was, I would say those would be my 2 highlighted, was just the very first because it was just so exciting. And then because I became the first heel that was a glow champ. And that's what everybody remembers me by, is that and the fact that I used to crush pineapples. That was my gimmick, is I used to come in and I would bust pineapples, stick it in my face, and I would spit it out at the crowd and someone always got pineapple, So that would be my 2 things that I would highlight is the winning the crown and just my first match ever. So, but it was fun. I just had a ball.
Great question, Sarah.
And
April.
Yeah.
I was going to give you the opportunity. Did you want to ask any of the ladies here a question yourself for them?
Yes, I was going to ask Roni. Roni, how long have you been wrestling? Because I was talking to the other girls a little bit earlier, but how long have you been wrestling?
I hit 10 years this year.
Oh, wow. So okay. And what made you want to get involved in wrestling and how did you start?
I have a very extensive entertainment background as well. I did modeling and pageants and acting and singing as a child. So I was already immersed in the entertainment space. And because of the age gap between myself and my cousins, my first cousins, is about 12 years, I noticed, or I was able to go to a lot of their scholastic wrestling matches. So my interest was already piqued by seeing my family participate scholastically. And then I stumbled across WWE and as well as some old grainy VHS tapes from Japan. And that really inspired me to walk the path of a wrestler. So 10 years later, here I am. I originally started my training here in North Carolina with Tony James, Eddie Brown, down at Ringworth, Carolina. And then I moved to C.W. Anderson's Cousins Training School and completed my training with C.W. Anderson, Chili Willie, and Lou Marconi. And then I moved to Japan for 4 years and finished my training there with the World Women Pro Wrestling Vienna Dojo and the Seedling Dojo. So here we are, all those many years later.
So you grew up with it. You grew up and you see. I had no knowledge of wrestling, no experience. I was total, if you will, virgin wrestler, but I didn't know anything until I got to the training with Glow, and I was fortunate enough to work with Mondo Guerrero. But one of our Glow girls, Lightning, she was a wrestler. She wrestled a lot in Japan, and she holds 2 titles. I believe one of them is in Japan, but she did a lot of wrestling in Japan. So she traveled quite a bit. But
it's an incredible place.
That's very
for
cool.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. And what else are you wanting to do besides just wrestling? Anything else within the industry?
I eventually would like to, like I said, I'm working on that now, but having my own training facility, an entertainment facility. So not just for wrestling, but to give wrestlers the opportunity to learn and develop skills that we use for wrestling, but in other mediums. So public speaking, acting, presentation, brand marketing, business in general. A lot of the things that I was taught, I'm very grateful for my education in wrestling. However, it was very old school and very carny in a way. And wrestling is a business, and especially now as we move into more and more technology and more digital age and more of everything being accessible through devices, marketing yourself, promoting yourself, and translating this art to those platforms wasn't something that was even a thing when I was trained. And so providing a place for people to learn how to do those things, to have safe training, and especially places for wrestlers of color. We haven't, Dan and I have never actually delved into it, but the racism and the misogyny in wrestling that I experienced coming up is something I would never want anybody else to experience. And so specifically creating that space here in North Carolina for that to happen. No shade to any of the other wonderful training facilities or schools that are here and that are available. But I'm looking to provide something that just doesn't exist, and that is a safe space. And so that is my new dream, is to combine the experience that I have in wrestling with the experience that I have outside of wrestling and my other endeavors.
Sounds like you're gonna provide all the knowledge and services that one needs to succeed and be beyond the wrestling, with all the different experiences and things that you're providing. That's awesome.
That's the hope. One thing that I'm reflecting on, because like I said, I'm still a baby. 10 years is nothing, especially, being in Japan. There were girls who were 10 years, but they were younger than me. Do you know what I mean? So 10 years to me is just the beginning of your career, essentially, because you finally have a lot of experience. You have a lot of knowledge, but you don't know everything. And I was always taught that if you think you know everything, you should leave. But one thing that I wasn't taught was how to do this, how to safely be on the road as a woman, how to not spend all my money traveling to shows, how to be respected as an athlete and a professional, how to navigate those situations, like you mentioned, the couch situations. It's not, essentially it's still a couch, but in wrestling, it's pay to play in one way or another. And a lot of times that's to the detriment of the wrestler or to the detriment of somebody. And to me, that's the detriment of the business. We are given a gift of wrestling. Wrestling is one of the oldest art forms in the world, one of the oldest sports in the world. You can trace wrestling all the way back to ancient Sumeria. We are part of an ancient oral tradition that is still being performed across the world. Wrestling has touched every single continent. Everybody knows something about wrestling, whether they want to admit it or not, whether they love it or not. But the part we never really dive into is that underbelly and how much people lose and how challenging it can be, especially as a woman in this business, to navigate a male-dominated industry when no one's telling you the right things to do, when the people who are helping you are men, so the things they are telling you aren't necessarily different or helpful because they're giving you the information that they have. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
I'm like I said, I'm so grateful because I learned so much. I feel like if I wasn't taught by the men that I was taught, I wouldn't have gone to Japan because they taught me old school strong style. And that was very respected there. But I wasn't taught a lot of the things that are vital that I had to learn on my own. And if there's a way that I can help somebody have to go not alleviate the struggle, because the struggle is what helps you build character and appreciation. But there's just so much unnecessary stuff that could be alleviated if someone just gives you a heads up, if someone just gives you an opportunity, or if you just have a conversation, you know? And that's what I think is so important and has to change within the business. Don't just create a school. Create a business, create entertainment for your community, and create a place that people can actually pay a bill. You know, the hot dog and the handshake payment is not going to cut it when eggs are almost $10. How, you know, like,
isn't that crazy?
You know,
sure.
Like, it blows my mind when promoters are like, I would like you to come to the show, but I'm not going to pay your rate and I'm not going to pay trans and you have to find a place to stay. I'm 9 hours away. How? What? So if you don't from the bottom start with the idea of meeting the needs of the people that you're employing, how do you expect to flourish, and how do you expect to do justice to this art? So that's really, in my little corner of the world here in North Carolina, is what my focus has been, just from everything that has happened to me, and to try to create a bubble to help others not struggle in such negative ways, but to have that good stress, that eustress, you know, that propels you forward without all of the stuff that can kind of drag you down.
Okay.
Well, sounds like you got a great plan, and North Carolina is lucky to have someone like you to provide that. You know, I mean, like us, I mean, we didn't know what the heck we were doing. I mean, we followed what was being directed by, you know, 2 or 3 with our writer and a couple of the, you know, staff, but we didn't know what we were doing, and we were in our 20s. You know, we didn't have someone like you maybe offering advice, and these are the things that you need to know. Here's some business sense. Da 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 da. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. You know, so we were lucky that there wasn't too much negative stuff that happened during those years or times that we were doing that. But I'm sure that there were things going on that maybe we didn't even know about, you know? So just like anything else, like in the movie, you know, industry, and all the stuff that was going on in all the studios, and, you know, and that came out later on. But, you know, it's a good thing that we've got active women who are taking part in all areas of the business, you know, and also smart business women that are taking the initiative to do those kind of things to help the younger generations and the younger girls who may not have that kind of guidance or experience. So that's awesome. That's really just amazing. And I look forward. I'd like to, you know, follow you and take a look at what you're doing over there, because that's just amazing. So thank you for doing all that for the future lady wrestlers that, you know, are coming up in the business. So
I couldn't have done this without y'all, and I couldn't have done this without the steps y'all took. So we all come full circle, you know. And I followed you on Instagram, so I definitely would like to stay connected for sure.
For sure, that's amazing.
Oh, right.
Well, girls, so see, you guys are still young, and you're just starting, and you got a Roni where we didn't have a Roni. You know, ours was just kind of a, you know, try it out, and if you fail, get back up and, you know, do it again and see where it goes. But there's so many opportunities now, you guys, that, you know, it's the limits are not there like it was, you know, back in the day, even before Glow, you know. So, and there's so much to do. I mean, the industry is a $1 billion industry, you know, and why shouldn't the ladies be making some of this big money, right? I mean, it's always been, I don't care what business you're in, women are not paid equally, and we should be, you know. So I don't care what, but, you know, we're now having our own headlining. We're doing our own pay-per-views with just ladies. So we need to start getting some of that pay, you know, equal rights, equal pay, you know, and like you say, the color issue should we, I mean, you know, I look and here we are in the 21st century and we're still dealing with that. And it's actually gone backwards even, you know, I mean, when you look at some of the things that, you know, it's unfortunate, but you know, that's the way it is. And we just need to have those that are willing to step up to make some changes and be supportive of the issues that need to be addressed. So, but it's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, here we are, we're talking about wrestling, but it's more than wrestling, you know? So we just have to be able to, you know, provide the platform for other women to be able to speak of what they would like to see, would like to pursue, would like to see change, you know? So that's amazing. And you guys are only half my age, so you guys got a long ways to go, you know, and lots to do and lots to look forward to. So I wish you all luck, because it's a fun industry, and you know, there's money to be made. So, you know, go out and do it.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So is there anything else anybody wants to say as we close things out?
No, just thanks for having me, Dan. And it was great to be on this panel with y'all. And thank you again, April, Ashley, and Sarah. I know we're all at different places in our career, but it's amazing to be on a panel with women, because when I started, there was literally two women in North Carolina. So it's nice to be in these spaces. You, and
yes, and stay in touch. And, you know, if there's anything I can, you know, shed some light on or give you some, you know, input or advice, or, you know, anything that, you know, you might have a question about what we did back in the day, or, and I'm always up for it. Now I'm even doing some mentoring with some of the high school girls, because now they have high school teams for girls now. So the girls are not having to wrestle on the boys teams anymore. They've got their own teams. Yeah. Their own team. So I just went to see one group, and I sat and took a picture amongst, like, I don't know, 15, 16 girls on a high school wrestling team. And it was just amazing, you know? And so, you know, you just gotta keep, you know, plugging away. And like I said, that's why I do the things I do. Everybody says, well, why do you do it? And I said, you know, I'm not getting rich. I sell a few Royal Hawaiian t-shirts and sign autograph pictures. But really, what is it? I do it because I know the fans appreciate it. I know that there's people out there that want, I mean, I'm an advocate for suicide, and we've had fans actually come and say, do you know that you Glow Girl saved me from actually doing that, because I couldn't deal with the fact that I couldn't watch Glow on Saturdays. And they would come. We had two people at a LA Comic-Con before come in tears telling us, this is what you did for me. You saved my life, you know? So you just never know. And this is why I do it. I do it to learn things from you guys. Like, look, Roni now has just opened a whole world of all the things that are possible for wrestlers today, women of today, all the possibilities, all the services that maybe she's going to, you know, give advice to someone about. So you just never know whose life you're going to touch, where your experience might spark someone or motivate them to do something maybe they wouldn't have wanted to do. So I appreciate all you guys, and good luck to you. Thanks, right. Dan.
You're welcome.
Once again, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Danapalooza. Come back Sunday, February 5th. We'll have 3 new guests. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks, you guys.